clack, and we're starting it up.
Are you just gonna start podcasts like that now?
Yeah.
Clickety clack.
Clickety clack.
That's so
and we're
weird.
starting it up. I clicked a button, and then the music starts clacking.
And then we clack a
start
lack.
up.
Yeah, clack a lacking. Fuck.
Is that the new Freak League?
Freak League. Yeah, with clack a lacking. They used to say clack a lacking. Andre 3000 said that.
Yeah, there you go.
Clack a lack a lacking. Clack a lack a lacking.
Clickety clack yourself before you smack yourself.
Oh God! All right, we should start over. This is terrible. Welcome back, y'all. This is another episode of NB-YAY.
Yay!
Episode 47. Who was number 47? Was there ever a good number 47 in the
Fuck
NBA?
if I know.
There can't be, right? I feel like Jamal Hashburn. Damn it! I just came up with a good pun.
Jamal Hashburn?
Fuck! I just came up with a good
On
pun.
accident.
All right, that was on accident. That was good though.
I like that.
Want to address the elephant in the room. Nikki corrected me, told me that I'm an idiot, and it's not the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Although I feel like I have heard that phrase before.
Maybe by a racist.
Maybe
it's elephant.
It was a commercial. Wasn't there a commercial where the 800-pound gorilla was just sitting in the corner and just like, yeah, I'm right here, guys.
Yeah, that was a commercial for a bank or something like that.
I don't know. Anyways, first want to apologize for the podcast being late. We had some scheduling conflicts, some things that are some personal things going on that we had to address, not related to the podcast. So unfortunately we weren't able to record when we wanted to, and my apologies, and Nikki apologizes for that. Also wanted to address the other item. Matt is not going to be contributing to NBA as frequently as he once was. He's got some things going on in his personal life from not bad things, just work things. He's busy, and he's very passionate about Eat, Yay, Love, so he's definitely going to be around for Eat, Yay, Love from here on out. That's still his baby and his podcast, but he's chosen to take a step back from NBA to give himself some time to pursue some other things in his personal life and professional life, and we totally respect that here at the Yay Network, and we are going to miss Matt on the podcast and his humor, but we're going to continue on. We're going to continue on as the Q Bros. The Q Bros will continue on with NB-YAY. So, without further ado, I am your host, Jay Keelas, a.k.a. Jamal Hashburn, a.k.a. Scotty Big Pippin. Brother, introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, I'm Nicky Keelas, a.k.a. DeMar DeFrozen,
nice.
a.k.a. Dwayne. I forgot that one, actually. I had one. It went away.
Dwayne, I never should have eaten that pizza from Casey's.
Oh, Dwayne Queso is all I was going to say. Dwayne Queso.
What about Kyle Lowry? What are we going to do with Kyle?
Lowry seasoning.
Oh, yeah. Kyle Lowry seasoning. That's too obvious.
Also, number 47, Andre Kirilenko.
Oh, shit. AK-47.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I Googled it and it was like, Andre Kirilenko, Jerry Lucas.
This is the Kirilenko-sode.
Kirilenko-sode.
All right. Well, playoffs are far, far underway. Second round is over. Tomorrow, we start the conference finals. At the time of this recording, which is May 12th, 2018, it's Celtics versus Cavs tomorrow. And the matchup that we've all been waiting for, Rockets versus Warriors. But before we get into the conference finals, wanted to talk about this second round that just happened and some of the main storylines. So, probably the biggest storyline of this entire playoffs, Nikki, the NBA told Drake that he had to stop cursing, that he was cursing too damn much on the sidelines, and that he needed to stop. So, according to an article that we found from Bleacher Report, the NBA issued a warning to Drake as a result of his argument, his on-court argument with Kendrick Perkins. So, for those of you who didn't watch the game or didn't catch the replays, basically, halftime happened. Kendrick said something. Drake started spouting off. They had to separate them. And it turns out that they also were yelling at each other post-game.
Yeah.
Nikki, what do you think they were saying to each other?
I think he was like, yo, maybe you could help me out getting like some OVO stuff. And then Drake was like, yo, we don't make size 30.
Size 30.
I don't know. Kendrick Perkins is huge.
He's a big dude.
I also feel like Drake, the reason Kendrick Perkins got mad was because Drake said something along the lines of like, how does it feel knowing that you're only 2 months older than LeBron James? Like, because aren't they like super close in age?
Very, very close in age. My theory is that Perk is coming out with a mixtape or already has a mixtape, and his rapper name is Big Perk. And he was like, yo, Drake, did you get my mixtape? And Drake's like, nah, man, I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. He's like, motherfucker, you did get my mixtape. And then Drake's like, dude, I'm fucking busy, bro. Get the fuck off me, man. I'm trying to put out an album. And then I think it was more of like an artistical spat, like just two artists just arguing over music. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, because neither one of them play basketball, so I don't know why
Yo, shout out to Perk. Sorry, buddy, but you know it's true.
Hey, he was great on the Celtics for a while there,
and they loved him at OKC. Everybody speaks so highly of him. Everybody
seems like such a nice guy.
Everybody says their favorite teammate ever. Like KG said it. Rondo's like him and Rondo are like best friends.
Yeah.
KD loves him. LeBron loves him. Everybody loves.
I know
Perk.
Russ likes him a lot.
Everybody loves Perk. He's everybody's favorite teammate. It's not even close.
And I bet you, like, after the game was all over, him and Drake like high-fived or some shit.
So you're actually wrong, because here's what happened. So turns out what really happened is Kendrick Perkins was talking a little shit to Serge Ibaka, who was his teammate in OKC,
yeah.
And Drake started mouthing up and said, shut the fuck up. And Perk was like, nah, dude, sit the fuck down, enjoy the game. And then later on in the tunnel at the Air Canada Center, Drake called him a pussy. Naturally, of course, called him a pussy. Yeah, so it definitely didn't end in handshakes, daps, and hugs.
No.
It ended in him calling him a fucking pussy.
And then Drake yelled, call him a pussy, and Kendrick's like, yo, what do I gotta be nice for what, huh? I fucked that up. Gotta be nice for what, huh? I'll mess you up, son.
I see what you were trying to do.
I was trying to.
Failed
miserably, yeah.
Anyways, so I wanted to transition that topic to the topic of celebrity fan endorsers. Mm-hmm. So most notably during these playoffs, Drake and Kevin Hart have been the most prominent celebrity figures.
Specifically the day he got out of jail, Meek Mill was
a
real big deal for a second there. But yeah, it is nice seeing them, although with the Sixers run and also the Eagles and everything, Kevin Hart's getting a little too much. I think Kevin Hart
everywhere.
I think Kevin Hart is very, very funny, but I also think Kevin Hart has the type of comedy that if you get it too much, then you become annoyed of Kevin Hart instead of laughing at everything he did. Because like there was a point in time, like when the Jumanji movie came out with him, he's literally the worst part of that movie. Like, which is really weird because he's still very funny.
I gotta watch that.
It's very good. I mean, hey, listeners, Jake saw The Avengers.
I finally saw it.
So
don't tell Amber. I didn't tell her.
We got that going. But yeah, so like, it's just, I need Kevin Hart in doses. And I can't have too much.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
He's getting to that Dane Cook level where you're just like, go the fuck away.
Exactly. Just like, take a break. Man, go just produce all the comedy for a little while. But like, and I get why he doesn't want to go anywhere, because this is the entertainment business. If you go away, people might forget you. But like, at the same time, like, if you are around too much, you're not Nike. Nike can't be oversaturated. A human being can be oversaturated. So
let's play a fun game. Let's play Fuck, Marry, Kill. And I want to play Fuck, Marry, Kill with Drake, Kevin Hart, Spike Lee.
Okay. I think I'm going to marry Drake. Shit. The last one's hard.
You were quick to marry Drake.
Well, I was
You were so quick to marry Drake.
Because I wouldn't kill Drake. He's grown on me over the years. I remember I used to be like a really Drake person. But as the years go on, I think we've talked about this before, I realized I am Drake. Just not nowhere.
That's
obviously nowhere
near.
That's
a ridiculous statement.
Nowhere near like money wise or fame wise or like beard wise.
Yeah,
you got a
just
good
like
beard.
General talent.
Yeah. Just you wait. Cool Dad featuring Drake. One day. Just one day. And I don't even know what we're going to be singing about.
I can't wait for that.
It's going to be a 2-minute song of us just going, oh,
us or Drake?
Boy.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, so I think I would marry Drake because I think I could be his Stedman. He can do all the work, and I'm just like, I'm supportive.
Sure.
Rich ladies in the world, if you're looking for a Stedman, I can be that Stedman.
This is not the podcast for that, buddy.
Every part of my life.
Do not plug your dick on our podcast. Don't do it.
I'm not Draymond Green. No. I'm not putting my dick on the internet.
Don't do it.
I think I would fuck Kevin Hart because that seems like an energetic, quick fuck. And then I would, no, you know what? I would fuck. Ah, damn it. Why is this taking so long?
This is the most difficult question in NBA history.
I guess so. Because I don't know which one I would rather kill. Because I'm not really annoyed by Spike Lee or anything. But also, he seems like a boring lay.
My opinion is I would actually marry Spike Lee because he's been a Knicks fan since forever and has never gone anywhere. Still goes to games. Loves being a Knicks fan. And yes, I wouldn't call him boring, but like he's older, he's tame.
He's tame
a lot in comparison to what he used to be.
Yeah.
And like that's what you want in a marriage. You want some stability and you want low chaos, low stress. And that's Spike Lee for me. I would fuck Drake because
I mean, you get
Drake.
like a 16 album. You get a 16 track album out of that.
The music is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you gotta leave me?
And I can just like hang out and chill in Miami. And then I'm gonna kill Kevin Hart, and I love Kevin Hart, but you're dead, dude.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think I could fight Kevin Hart. I feel like I could hit him.
It does help that he is one of the few human beings who is shorter than us.
He's so tiny.
He's so tiny, but he is in very good shape.
He's in great shape, but I feel like I could choke him out. I feel like I could if I maneuver around the 1 year of jiu-jitsu that I took. I feel like it's enough for me to beat Kevin Hart's ass.
That's like I was reading this an article recently about like all the women from the WNBA that have been on Area 21. And then they asked like Kevin Garnett, like, why do you have all these women on Area 21? And he's like, because they're really good at what they do. And he was like, and he seemed confused. And then they talked to the women about it. And they're like, yeah, KG's like super supportive of all of us. And so are a bunch of like other NBA players.
Right.
She's like, you actually realize the only people who aren't supportive of female basketball players are people who don't play sports. Like they're just kind of dicks about it. And then she was talking about how like one time she was in college and someone like challenged one of her teammates or something like that. I don't remember everything that happened, but someone was talking. I don't remember who now. They interviewed multiple people, and someone was like, this dude played basketball against a college basketball female player, and he tried to just like use all of his weight to lay on her, and she just was like, what the fuck, and just pushed his ass back. She's like, you know, I'm all muscle, right? Like you're just flub, and I feel like that's how it is with Kevin Hart. He's all muscle.
Why did it take you to get so long to that?
I don't know.
God.
I did the same thing. I was recording with Bob yesterday. I did the exact same thing.
Good Lord.
I spent like 5 minutes on what should have been a minute and a half.
Good God. Did you know that the WNBA League Pass is like $17 for the season?
Really?
It's $17.
I mean,
nobody's buying that.
That'd be a pretty good summertime purchase.
Nobody's.
Because I can get on a computer,
I can think of like 15 other good summertime purchases. 50 even.
For $17?
For $15? Yeah, I'll buy those freaking mic stands that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we do need
That's
those.
going to give me a lot more joy than the WNBA.
That's
no
true.
offense,
We're
guys.
gonna need
Y'all are great.
I did read something where they said maybe lowering the basket 2 inches so it's easier for all of them to dunk. Just because
that just changes basketball so much, and
Yeah,
it's
I
almost
know.
degrading to the women.
Yeah, I know.
And
But
also
it's
now
just
they have
'cause
to
it was-
adjust to shooting on an 8-foot rim.
Yeah, instead of a 10-foot. Yeah.
There's gonna be you may get more dunks, but then there's gonna be that weird period where everybody's shooting percentage goes down to like 25% because they're adjusting to the new height of the rim.
Yeah, because they're all very good shooters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the answer. So next topic, from transitioning from Drake, who is the Raptors ambassador, to the actual Raptors. Once again, the Raptors got swept by LeBron James and the Cavaliers. They have lost the last 6 games in a row to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs. They are, I think, 2-8 all time against the Cavaliers in this 3-year span.
Because they've lost the last 10 straight.
That's what it was.
Because they lost 4-4, and then the year before that it was 2 wins for the Cavs. Then they won 2, and then the Cavs won 2, and then they've been swept the last 2 years.
10 games in a row. 2-10.
2-10.
2-12 in 3 years.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because
Right?
there was 2 games before they won. Yeah, you're right. 2-12.
Yeah,
2-12.
2-12.
That's 0-3 in the series.
Right, exactly. 2-12 in the last 3 years against the Cavaliers. Why can't the Raptors beat LeBron? This just seemed like the year where they might actually be able to pull it off.
I don't know. I did remember reading something that when LeBron was on the Heat, Dwayne Casey was a Spurs assistant coach.
Yeah.
And apparently he drew out the defensive plan that stopped LeBron James for the 1 year that the Spurs won.
Right.
And LeBron James said that it was so obvious how, like, his one real bad flaw that Dwayne Casey pointed out, that he said, like, Dwayne Casey is the reason I realized I had that flaw.
Right.
So I had to work more on that flaw. So he thanks Dwayne Casey for kind of getting rid of one of his huge flaws, which I'm pretty sure it was is terrible at 3-pointers, obviously. So he got better at 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And then they were like, now Dwayne Casey doesn't know what to do. He was like, I thought I had the answer. He can't shoot threes.
Man.
And now he can shoot threes. And the same shit will happen. I don't know who it'll be, but one day Giannis will also say, like, I just want to thank this person for really kind of stopping me on doing 3-pointers, so that way I can for sure start hitting 3-pointers.
It's funny because, like, I guess we say that to preface that Dwayne Casey recently got fired.
Yes.
And they asked LeBron recently, like, hey, man, do you think you're the biggest contributor to why Dwayne Casey got fired? Which is such a mean thing to say, but also true.
True.
And LeBron was like, no, of course. But, like, dude, Game 4 was an absolute shellacking.
Yeah.
There was a couple games, like Game 2, they had a chance to win. Game 1, they had a chance to win. They lost it. Like, it was a really close game. Game 2 was not as close. Game 3, they had a chance to win, and then Game 4 was just... here are the games right now. So it was Game 1, they lost by 1. We were watching that game.
Oh, that was a good game.
Game 2, they got destroyed by 18. Game 3, they had a chance to win. They were actually winning towards the end and blew the lead in the fourth quarter. And then Game 4, 128-93. Just it's so funny that the Cavs went from being this team where you're like, man, I don't think they're going to beat the Pacers, to now they're just absolutely destroying the Raptors, going into the conference finals against the Celtics, where they've got to be the favorite in that series too.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Yeah, because it's like, they got a lot of players that are good on defense, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop LeBron James. And the rest of the players, like, supporting cast for LeBron James is pretty equal, I feel like, to most of the players on the Celtics. A lot of the Celtics players are playing way above what you were expecting for them. Jason Tatum's been doing amazing. Marcus Smart was so good once he came back defensively. Obviously, Al Horford is Al Horford. No one notices it, but he's doing good every single game. I have yet to say Scary Terry. Scary Terry is fucking going off right now. And I think this is going to be a good series, but I'm saying 6 games, 4-2 Cleveland, which is sad. I hope it's 6 games, 4-2 Boston, because I'd much rather watch literally anyone else in the finals.
So I actually disagree. We pulled up LeBron's numbers here. So in the playoffs this year, LeBron's averaging 34 points a game. He's averaging almost 9.5 rebounds a game and 9 assists a game. He's basically averaging a triple-double for the playoffs. This is one of his best playoff stretches. Honestly, it's basically his best playoff stretch ever, except for like 2008, 2009 when he was in Cleveland, where in that one he did, in fact, basically average a triple-double and that series as well. But this is the best LeBron we've ever seen.
Yeah.
To, like, the point where Bill Simmons has made a point about this on his podcast where he's like, it literally looks like LeBron's like, what's the thing that I can do tonight to make this game a little bit tougher for me? Like, that bank shot was stupid. The game-winning shot was stupid.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he make that?
I sent it to you, right? They did the clip.
Oh, yeah, God's plan.
2, 3,
that's so
right?
bad.
And the best part is the red light comes out as soon as he goes, God. It's like, it sounds like he's so sad.
It's so good.
And then the last game, I forgot exactly what it was, but the stat it was like a ridiculous stat I saw on Reddit, the Reddit NBA page, where it was like he had a better shooting percentage on fadeaways in Game 4 than the entire Raptors team had in the entire game.
Stupid.
Just field goal, period. Not like based off of also fadeaways. It's just like he had a better shooting percentage in fadeaways than they did just period shooting.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's gotten to this level where he's like just taking on new challenges, and I kind of want to see how far he can take it. So at this point,
I think
much as I like the Celtics, I want to see LeBron in the finals. Like, I want to see him go against Houston or Golden State and just like see if he can do it. Like, this to me, this would be the year where if LeBron can take this team to the finals and win, that MJ conversation is going to be much more difficult.
It's a lot harder.
It complicates things a lot more because this team sucks.
Oh, yeah.
In comparison to the other teams that he's won with
Although
and lost with.
the last 2 games, Kevin Love definitely stepped it up.
And kudos to Ty Lue. Like, nobody's giving Ty Lue enough credit about, like, what he's been able to do. Like, him, and I'm sure plenty of the input was from LeBron, but, like, all those guys that they traded for at the deadline, you haven't heard anything from any of them this entire playoffs because they've never been there and they don't know what the fuck they're doing except for George Hill, who's been injured. It's not like he's ever been a star.
Yeah.
None of them have ever been there. Even, I mean, dude, Rodney Hood said no to coming into the game the other day. He's upset about his role and this and that. It's just so dumb.
But it's like, you brand new, dude. You've been injured and you didn't prove yourself when you were in there. What else were you expecting? He literally hasn't seen you do anything good. Pippen said, like, it was a little shade, don't get me wrong, but also it was a pretty good point. He said, hey, when I was playing like garbage, I played garbage time because it was just like a glorified practice pretty much. I was able to get my reps in, get my feet under me. Rodney Hood hasn't been playing very much. Just take the minutes.
I don't understand it.
It's not like they're gonna freaking white mamba you and only put you in the last 2 minutes of every game.
You're not like a fucking sideshow. You're getting your minutes. You're getting your buckets to try to see if you can get into a rhythm. You fucking idiot. Now you're definitely not gonna play. You stupid dummy.
I found out about this. I didn't know this. Apparently he has like such bad anxiety that he throws up during the games.
Rodney Hood?
That's what I was reading. They were saying that when he was in college and in Utah, there was literally someone who would just hang out with a bucket off to the side, and he would like go and throw up sometimes. Not every single game.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, that's how bad his anxiety is. And I'm like, dude, you need to like get...
It could be worse. Remember Royce White?
Yeah, I remember that.
It could be worse. He could like never go to any games ever because he can't get on a plane.
He can't get on a plane. But I'm like, he needs to like be talking to somebody. Yeah. Like, it's like, hey, you're good.
Right.
You're good at sports. You're doing fine. People want you on their team. Just calm down. I think he's probably better now than back then, but it was like in college, and it was really bad his rookie season, apparently.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Raptors for a little bit because, I mean, if we looked at their playoff performances, nothing impressive. I mean, honestly, the best player you could argue during the playoffs for them, or at least during the series, was Jonas Valanciunas. Like, JV played more consistently better than anybody else. And Kyle Lowry did his thing. Like, this is the first year in a while where Kyle Lowry did not disappear. Yeah. Like, he averaged around 18 points a game. And he shot fairly well. He shot like 46% from 3, about 70% from 2. So like he had a good series. DeMar DeRozan just disappeared. Just absolutely disappeared. 16.8 points per game. Missed all of his 3-point shots. And just disappeared altogether. So much so that in the last game of the series, as the Raptors were like trying to come back, Dwayne Casey just didn't put him in the third quarter. Just didn't play him the entire third quarter. And at that point, it's just like, there's friction there. There's some stuff there. So I guess the question is, should the Raptors just continue on with this team and just like keep making the playoffs until it runs out, or should they blow it up or make a drastic trade? Like, where do they go from here?
The thing is, now that they'll have a new coach. I was actually about to look for it. I couldn't find it like real fast, but like, I forgot. Zach Lowe said something along the lines of like, the big problem for Dwayne Casey was he doesn't make adjustments. Like, he doesn't make adjustments game to game. He doesn't make adjustments during the game. Yeah. Like, he barely does anything. And you can see, like, that's obviously why stuff's happening. If he's not doing anything to fix the team up, maybe with a new coach, someone will actually fucking do something. Yeah, well, like with the team.
He's out. But I'm wondering, like, because DeMar DeRozan is the best player on that team, but his skill set doesn't make him like a top 15 player in the NBA. So do you trade him? Do you trade Kyle Lowry? Do you try to trade Valanciunas and Serge Ibaka and get a little bit smaller maybe? Like, they have a dearth of centers. Like, they've got Ibaka who can play the 5. They've got Valanciunas that can play the 5. They got Pirtle. They've got Pascal Siakam that can play like a small lineup.
And hell,
Bebe Nogueira. Like, they've got a lot of big men.
OG, you can just push him up into the 4 spot.
Exactly.
He played 4 a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the size and the strength and the defensive capabilities to guard like basically 2 through 5. Almost.
Yeah, and as terrible as it sounds, I think one thing they have to figure out a way to get rid of is Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka was a nothing for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at his stats here. He was 8 1.25 blocks, which is not bad, but like 8 and 4 from your power forward.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not That's not who you brought in. That's not what you signed him for. And his situation is worse because, like, so if we pull up their contract situation here, like, they just signed Serge.
Yeah.
Like, they just signed him. They're in a contract with him. They've got a lot of contracts on the books right now that are longer term, larger contracts. So, like, they just signed Lowry. They just signed DeRozan. So currently they sit at 13th overall, which is not terrible in overall salary. But, like, if you look at their team, Kyle Lowry's locked up through 2020. DeMar's locked up through 2021, which, frankly, you could argue that because he's locked up through 2021, that contract is tradable.
Yeah.
In that, like, they know if they trade for him, they're going to get him locked up for a couple of years. Serge is locked up through 2020. Jonas Valanciunas has got a player option in 2020. So it's just like you've got a lot of contracts at the top end that, you know, they pay these guys, but they just have so many big men and a lot of really small contracts. If you can get off that Serge Ibaka contract and get some role players, or even that Jonas and like the Jonas contract and just get off of that. Yeah. I mean, he's got a player option, so like if you get off of that,
real quick, Jay brought up hoops hype, and we got new technology. We have a large TV screen connected to a computer, so I can see what Jay's looking at. And the way it's broken down by year, is that specifically how much they'll make each year?
Yeah.
Damn it! I wish I was tall.
You know,
and
Steph
like
Curry's
good at
making
sports.
like $31 million a year after that extension.
That sounds so nice, but also so sad because Serge Ibaka in 2020 is going to be making $23.27 million in that year, and I don't think he's worth $3 million right now. The way he's been playing.
Starting next year, he's going to be getting paid $31 million a year.
That sounds real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take $1 million.
Yeah.
I'll take $1 million.
Kyle, I'll hold all your shoes for you.
What's Nigel Hayes making? $92K? I'll take $92K.
$92,000 a year is not bad. And OG Anunoby is doing pretty great. He's already making 1 point. Yeah, he's got it's a rookie contract. He made 1.64.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
That's not too shabby.
And they've got him locked up for a long time. But anyway, so yeah, it's just like the Raptors are in this weird situation that a lot of teams go through, which is like, do we keep just making the playoffs? Like Memphis had to go through this, where it's just like, do we just keep making the playoffs even though we know, realistically speaking, we probably are never going to have a chance to win the championship? Or do we blow it up? And this year they finally blew it up.
And like another team that's in that, and I feel like we can probably talk about it a little bit, because we just saw Dwayne Casey got fired, but guess who else is fired? Stan VanGundy.
That's a shit situation.
Shout out to the Bleacher Report for that damn Van Gundy episode.
Oh yeah, I was watching that the other day with the Van Gundys. Yo, if you guys have not watched Game of Zones by Bleacher Report, you have to. If you're an NBA fan, you have to watch it. It's absolute hilarity. If you are a true NBA fan, you will get the jokes, and they are so fucking funny. Yeah. And it's all based around Game of Thrones. So it's, if you like Game of Thrones and you like basketball, it's gonna tickle your butthole, and I think you're gonna like it. But so let's talk about a couple of hirings and firings, since we're on the topic. So you brought up Stan VanGundy got fired this week. Now, initially, the report was that they were just going to be taking away his GM and like presidential position and just have him head coach. My theory is that once they told him that, he's like, look, I came here to be both, and if you don't want me to be both, then I want to get the fuck out of here. So then they fired him.
And they were like, all right, go fuck yourself.
Right. And that's what I'm assuming. Like, it just feels that way. But at the same time, it's like, that job, so this is the question I have, is that job has to be the most unattractive job in the NBA right now, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely one of the top ones, available jobs, because other jobs that are shit are the Suns. It doesn't seem like a lot of fun. Although I did just read that apparently they were going to maybe be offering a max contract to Clint Capella.
Who?
The Soons.
Oh, the Suns? That'd be interesting. I mean, he is coming up for free agency.
I did just see that somewhere around here. But anyways, who cares?
So let's look at the Pistons roster right now, because they're currently 9th overall in overall team payroll, which for a team that did not make the playoffs and is like way underperforming, that's a really shitty salary situation to be in. Like, they made that Blake trade as like a total fucking shot in the dark. Look how much money he's got on. He's on their books until 2023. Like, he's on their books.
He's making so much money.
He's making a lot of money because he signed that 5-year extension over the offseason with the Clippers, and they're like, yo, you know what was weird about that? Not only did they give him this fat ass extension, they put his fucking jersey in the rafters. Yeah. Like, and then they traded him. It was so weird. Like, days later. But anyways,
I think it's because Jerry West came in and he was like, you guys are all stupid. I'm gonna get everything done. Just shut up and get out of my way.
It's so they traded for Blake. That's a nightmare of a contract. For little to no productivity. He was actually on the Barstool part of my Take podcast the other day. It was pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
He's so funny. I like Blake. I love Blake, but that contract is terrible for a guy who's like borderline all-star now. Like he went from being a top 5 player in the NBA to like borderline all-star. Just barely good enough to make the all-star team now. And then you got Andre Drummond locked up through 2020. You've got that fat-ass Reggie Jackson contract that has not worked out.
Which is crazy because it's so much smaller than the other 2 contracts.
Look at these bad contracts. He gave John Lure $10 million
a year.
John Lure!
I don't even know who that is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Langston Galloway got a freaking...
I forget Josh contract. Smith is still on their payroll.
He's still on their books, dude. They just signed him.
Yeah.
They signed him a couple years ago. They gave him a 3-year, $15 million contract. Which is not crazy. Which is not crazy for... But, like, it's fucking Josh Smith.
Yeah, that's too much.
You know, they drafted Luke Kennard... Missed on Donovan Mitchell.
Freaking Donovan Mitchell,
You
yeah.
know, like made all these terrible decisions. They drafted what's his face Henry Ellenson a couple years ago. He's been a bust. Like they just Stanley Johnson's been a bust. It's just
Jameer Nelson still exists?
Oh yeah, he got traded. Or no, well he got traded to us from New Orleans in the Nico trade.
Yeah,
then we released
that's right.
him.
We got rid of him.
They
That's
picked
true.
him up. But it's just like this situation. This just goes to show that like. It's impossible to do 2 jobs really well. What did Ron Swanson say? Never whole-ass 2 things or half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing. And this, you just can't be a GM and a coach and be good at both. It's impossible.
Yep.
You can't dedicate time to both. So, like, now you've got this situation. You've got the Clipper situation where you gave these coaches this kind of power. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in Minnesota. But, like, whoever takes on this job, not only as a GM, but as a head coach, what a terrible, terrible situation to be in. Now, here's the thing. There's still enough talent on that roster, and the East is so bad that with the right coach, with a new voice, they might be able to get some movement here.
And like, I feel really bad saying this because he has had some very good things, but they got to get rid of Reggie Jackson.
Oh, they got to trade that.
They played better without him on the court.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, when Ish Smith was starting for them, they were much better until when Reggie Jackson got back. Yeah. He had some spurts, but nonetheless, Stan Van got fired. Good luck to whoever gets that job. But
good luck to whoever's gonna get this Knicks job. Well, segue because I already knew what we were supposed to talk about.
Thank you. You can go ahead and introduce the topic since you already started.
Our main man Fizdale.
Big Fizz.
Big Phil is ain't gonna rook us. Take that for data.
He's gonna take his data to New York.
He's
right down to Times Square, bitch.
And he's going to try to make the Knicks a little bit better. Maybe without Kristaps, because I was reading he might not play much this next season.
I mean, he's still coming off that injury, and it's going to be interesting to see. But
I think they might. He's definitely going to be on minutes restriction for sure.
Yeah, at least starting the season.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
I feel bad for Fizz. I really do.
He came off as such a good. He is a good coach.
He's a great coach. Everybody says he's a great coach. I mean, that first season in Memphis, he had a really good season, but he does tend to like push guys. Like when it comes to the players, like he pissed off Marc Gasol, he pissed off Zach Randolph. He tends to do that. Like he pushes people and he gets people mad at them.
And I wonder what kind of pushing he's doing that's getting all these people mad.
Well, his whole thing is like he doesn't like complainers and bitch asses, which rightfully so. Yeah. Rightfully so. But you know, in the NBA, you really do have to make your players like you. Like people want to play for guys that they like. Yeah. And not even just like, but like and respect. Yeah. Because it's not like you need to teach them the X's and O's super. Like they've played so much organized basketball to this point, they get it. And not only that, but like you have other coaches for that. Yeah. You have other coaches for X's and O's and playbooks, and like they have their own personal shooting coaches and shit like that. Like they all got their people. Your whole thing is to orchestrate, make adjustments, and have that team play for you. Like, make them like and respect you. Yeah. And Fizdale got the respect. The like part was a little wishy-washy. But I think he has the personality to do well in New York.
Yeah, he seems very... Like, he was at a Yankees game, I think it was the other day. And, like, people went off. They're like,
they love him.
Shit, Fizdale! They love him. Because, like, something that's big in New York, obviously, is passion. Right. New Yorkers are passionate as fuck.
And Fizz fights. And like that motherfucker likes to fight.
Passionate.
He's a fighter.
So I think that'll the fighter and the Fizz.
Yes. Great podcast name. We should. You know what? Let's get in touch with his people. We're gonna start a new podcast. We're gonna have to find a fighter too. But
yeah. So
the fighter and the
They work. I think they'll work pretty well together. I'm sure it will end poorly because it's New York. No offense to any New Yorkers.
I wish him the best, though. I really do wish him the best.
And you know what? I think the NBA is more fun when the Knicks are good.
He's only the second black coach that they've ever had.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I guess most teams haven't had.
Most
a black
teams
coach.
don't have many black coaches.
The Bulls have only had one black coach.
Yeah.
Oof. We gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Fire Hoiberg. Let's bring a black guy in. Let's do it.
Hoiberg
is literally the whitest coach in the NBA.
No.
Yes.
Let's have a white off.
Okay, who's the whitest coach in the NBA?
Who's the whitest coach in the NBA? Greg Popovich is woke as fuck.
Greg Popovich is super woke.
He's kind of woke. I'm trying to think of other ones who might be. Quinn Snyder is a bit.
I don't know, but he's like cool though. He looks more like a mafia lawyer. Like he does not look like okay, Ty Lue, black coach. Steve Kerr
says Ty Lue is not a cool coach.
No, not a cool coach.
So uncool.
Billy Donovan also seems like a wise guy. Like he's from Providence. He's a wise guy. Miami's got Spoelstra. He's Filipino. Fucking Brooks from what's his first name? Scott Brooks.
Yeah,
Scott Brooks. Is a cool guy. Cool guy. Alvin Gentry, black guy. Shout out. Oh, Joe Prunty, whitest coach in the NBA.
Oh,
not even close. Not even
from
close.
Milwaukee.
Not even close. Mike D'Antoni, he's a country dude.
Mike D'Antoni's pretty white.
He's pretty white. Doc Rivers. Yeah.
He's pretty white.
Let's see here. Boston. Brad Stevens. Pretty white.
Yeah.
He's from Indiana.
Yeah.
He's almost too white.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else.
I always thought he was like a Mormon or something. If you told me Brad Stevens was a Mormon, I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's see here. Yeah.
I think
Fred Hoiberg's pretty high up that list though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Prunty takes the cake as the whitest coach in the NBA by far. He looks like somebody who does your taxes. Like he does not look like an NBA coach.
Yeah.
But anyways, shout out to Fiz. Best of luck, buddy. You got one good player. You got one.
Yeah, and you got a good defender.
So let's talk about the playoffs a little bit. Let's talk about the playoffs. And what I want to talk about is what player do you think has played so well that they're going to be up for a fat contract either this coming year or the next year that they're up as a free agent?
I don't know when his is coming up, but for sure, Scary Terry.
Scary Terry's going to get paid.
Scary Terry is about to get paid, bitch, like real well.
Yeah.
And Clint Capella.
Clint Capella's been playing pretty well.
I think he's going to get paid pretty well.
Nico's going to get paid.
Nico's going to.
Now, he's still got 1 year left on that contract, but based on the way he played this year, if he can duplicate that next year for a full season, somebody's going to pay that man.
How he played this, like when he came back from the punch in the face and in the playoffs, was how I always imagined he could play.
Yep.
I was always like, that is what he is. Like, that would be perfect. And it just seemed like it never worked when he was in Chicago, except until the end, I guess.
Right.
When he was like, oh, if I play better, they'll get me out of here quicker. Like, I don't know what happened.
Dude, Boston is 15th overall in team salary. That's crazy.
Yeah, Boston don't spend money on anything.
But yeah, like, let's see. Terry Rozier's contract comes up in 2020. He's got a team option. No, qualifying offer, because he's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to pay him in a couple years if he plays again next year. But like when it comes to like good contracts, usually it's guys that are just about to come up on free agency. Those are the guys that get paid. But like if you look at the rest of these teams, there aren't too many people that are up for.
Absolutely no one in Miami is going to get paid.
No, Mike Scott might get paid. Mike Scott had a really good series.
Right, he did. Okay, there's definitely people in Indiana. Is Bojan getting done soon?
I think he just signed that contract, to be honest. Let me
I
just see.
don't know. I'm pretty sure he might be done. Oh, damn, Indiana's also real low.
A lot of salary cap room. Bojan, yeah, he's got 1 more year left on that contract.
Okay, that's not bad. I think.
Oh, well, Thad Young didn't have a great series. He's got a player option for this year.
Yeah, I think him and Domantas Sabonis, but Sabonis is in there for a while too.
He's on the rookie contract.
Yeah, so mine were Bojan for sure out of there. Who on I don't know. His probably isn't up, but Ricky Rubio's playing very well.
I think he is up this year.
Is he up?
I think he is up this year. He did play well. I wonder if they're gonna retain him though.
Yeah,
because like they've got a couple contracts that are coming up. Oh no, he's got 1 more year on his contract. But Derek Favors is a free agent. He played pretty well towards the end, but not well enough to get really paid.
Yeah. Jay Crowder played very well in the playoffs, but he's still there for. Oh, he's gonna be done with 3 more years.
Yeah,
that's
I wonder
good.
what they're gonna do with Dante Exum.
I don't know.
I feel like they're gonna let him go, and he's not gonna get picked up. He's not gonna get a fat contract.
No, he's not gonna be. But Ricky played very well, so I think he's good. And Jingles is still there for a little while.
Yeah,
so.
he just signed that contract last year.
Ooh, The Rose Whisperer.
Oh, can we talk about that for a second? Because one, his playoffs overall were really solid, and a report came out this morning actually that the Timberwolves want to bring him back. And honestly, I think it's best for him.
I think that's
let him
the
stay.
best idea
Let him play with
for him.
Tibbs. Tibbs gets him. He knows how to get the most out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think they need him. I wonder if they try to move. Well, I think Jamal Crawford's contract is up after this year. Actually, I don't think he is. I think they're gonna have to move him.
I think they're gonna have to have him for a little while.
Right.
Oh wow, 14. That's not bad.
It's not great. Jeff Teague's their most expensive player.
Yeah, I knew that.
But like,
And
Jeff Teague's locked up.
Soon it's gonna be Andrew Wiggins. He's gonna get a big old fat paycheck.
Yeah, he got that extension. He's gonna get paid pretty
Yeah.
well. They just signed that. Jeff Teague's got one more season plus a player option. Jimmy's
He
got
probably
one more
gonna
season
take that
player
player.
option. Gorgie Dang, they locked him up. I wonder if they try to move him.
They might.
Taj got one more year left. But like, they finally are getting off that Nikola Pekovic contract. Thank God.
Thank God for them.
But like Tyus Jones, like have to move
Jamal
him.
Crawford and Bielitsa are done.
Yeah, so like Jamal Crawford's gonna come off their books.
Shabazz Muhammad's already gone.
They released him. But like, if you look at them,
okay, so it says Derrick Rose only made $416,000 this
for
year.
the rest of the season with the T-Wolves.
Yeah, with the T-Wolves, which for a second I was like, whoa, that's so little. But then another second passed, and I was like, I wish I was paid that much.
Sure, you give me a quarter of that.
Oh, my God.
But anyways, yeah, Derrick Rose most likely going to go back with the T-Wolves, and I really, really hope he does, because I think it's just going to be better for his career moving forward. And maybe, I don't know how much they're going to pay him, but like maybe they give him a 1+1, where they're just like, hey, man, one full season here. You feel comfortable here. You know Jimmy. You know Taj. You know Tibbs. Let's run it back.
You're our Jamal Crawford.
Yeah,
now.
you're going to be our sixth man.
You're the new. And you know what? I hope he wins Sixth Man of the Year, because then he will be one of 3 players ever to win the MVP and the Sixth Man of the Year. First ever was Bill Walton. Second will be this year with James Harden. And then the third could be Derrick Rose. But he would be the first one to ever flip it, which would be crazy.
Well, no.
Yeah, because Bill
Walton won MVP first.
Oh, yeah, he did. I'm sorry. Yeah,
100%.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
100%. He wasn't a sixth man until he got to Boston.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
I hope he does well. And I think if he can find a role as like your spark plug scorer off the bench, and that becomes the rest of his career, that's the best you can hope for him at this point.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because he's never going to be the Derrick Rose that we all thought he was.
No, but it's fun to see, 18, 20 minutes a game where he just goes off for 20 points. I think every game he averaged like 18.
He averaged like 17 during that season.
He averaged 17 points
really
in like
good.
18 minutes.
Yeah, he was
so
doing
like
really
he
well.
did pretty well. He wasn't. I think he was shooting like average to slightly. I mean, he went off and from 3-point range, although he only shot like 10 threes, I think.
Yeah.
But he hit like 7 of them. So like that's pretty great.
All right, now you introduced this topic because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about here.
Okay, so this next topic, there is a league called Your Call Football, and it's a league that you can. It's just, I think they only play 3 games a season. Like, it's not like a big deal. It's just like a fun new thing they're trying out with an app where people vote on the plays that people would, like, the team would play. So you, like, the game's going on, and instead of a coach actually choosing something, the coach just gives 3 plays out, like in Madden games, where they're like, here's 3 suggestions for what you could do, and then people vote on which play actually gets chosen on both the offensive side and the defensive side.
Interesting.
Now, I didn't read too much into it, but you choose a team. So when your team's on defense, you would you would choose a defensive play and stuff like that. And they do all plays based on votes.
Right.
Just like what everyone voted. So I thought, seeing as the Big Baller League is not as big or ballerish as we thought it was, if they would add something like this, like you get to choose the lineup or something like that, or you get to choose like some plays that coaches have to call out every once in a while, something. I, in a sense, want to know, what kind of gimmick can we come up with to help the Big Baller League?
So I hear what you're saying. I have to think though, one, LeVar never lost. So I don't know that he's going to be cool with people calling plays for him. However, I also like to think that LeVar would create a bunch of different Twitter accounts so he can contribute to the voting and just like hack the voting Russian style and make sure that the play that he wants to call is the play that goes. The problem with calling games in a basketball setting is that basketball plays get called in transition.
Yeah.
Whereas
You have time to sit
in
and
the
wait.
NFL, you huddle, you
Yeah.
call the play, then you go. But like basketball plays get called as the plays being made. But I like what you're thinking.
Maybe
I like what you're thinking.
I was gonna say maybe you can do substitutions, but that also would be terrible. Like, who are we subbing in next? Like the guy at the end of the bench. We just want to see him play.
What if you did like weird foul situations where it was like 5-on-4, like hockey? Where it's like,
that'd be
all right,
good.
this guy just fouled. This type of foul gets him sat for 3 minutes. So it's like, all right, you got to play the next 3 minutes, 5-on-4. Have fun, guys.
That's an ass.
Like, what if you did that? What if you applied hockey rules to the big bar league? Where you're just like, take somebody off the court. Now it's 5-on-4. God damn it.
Then your team's down by like 15.
And at one point, God, could you imagine if they had a situation where you had like 1-on-1 full court? Oh my God. What a mess that would be. What a nightmare. Next topic. So just a couple of topics NBA related, then we'll wrap up today. CP3 finally made it to the conference finals.
Woo!
I know we talked about this earlier. It's Rockets versus Warriors in the conference finals. And CP3 dropped 41 to drop the Pelicans. We all thought the Pelicans might have
the
some...
Jazz.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. The Jazz. The Pelicans was the Warriors.
Yeah.
To drop the Jazz, it was a good game. It was a good game until the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Jazz put up a really good fight.
Donovan Mitchell scored 22 points in the third quarter of that game.
Dominated.
Yeah, I know he also kind of got hurt, so like he wasn't in the whole game.
It sounds like he's okay, but
yeah,
nonetheless,
he seems fine.
Shout out to CP3 for finally getting to the conference finals. This isn't even the most talented team he's ever been on.
Yeah.
This is the best team he's ever been on, but not even the most talented team he's ever been on.
I did also see something. I think it was Zach Lowe again. I just follow him so much.
Zach Lowe's great.
But also, I could be contributing this to the wrong person. So if you know, email us at theyaynetwork@gmail.com. But I forgot who it was, but what they said was it was like just a spreadsheet, and it was like I did the math on it. The Rockets will be the hardest team that the Warriors have ever faced since their original, this first ever playoffs where they won the championship. Every single category, team wins, offensive rating. I think it was like shooting percentage, assist percentage, like everything. The Rockets are number one in every single category for any team that the Warriors have ever played.
Yeah.
At both East and West.
Yeah.
Including the one that they lost to the Cavs. All that shit. So like we already said, this is not the most talented team that CP3's ever been on, but this is the best put together team that he has ever been on.
It's just the most well orchestrated team. It's going to be a really interesting series.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Eric Gordon or Trevor Ariza might have to step up a lot to really get them over. One of the two. Because PJ Tucker's great on defense, but he's not going to be your scoring threat the whole game. Clint Capella's going to go Clint Capella. Obviously, yeah. Obviously you get like the freaking James Harden, CP3 are going to do great, but I just think they need one other person to kind of step it up. And I don't know if it is going to happen, but I think they might be able to do it. As you heard my voice crack as I was saying it, it went up because my body doesn't full on believe it, but I think maybe they. I don't know.
They've got a lot of depth, and that's what's going to help them. I'm assuming Eric Gordon's going to be healthy for this series. I don't know of any injuries right now that they're dealing with, but this is going to be fun. This is going to be the ultimate test for James Harden, for him to be raised to at this pace. So let's just say they down the Warriors and they win the championship this year, and he wins the MVP. He's basically been in the MVP conversation for 3 out of the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, and the one season he didn't was
the
greatest, the Kardashian season.
No, that was the Steph Curry season. Well, yeah, it was both.
It was Steph Curry's greatest. One of the greatest statistical seasons ever. Thank you. That's too much. But also he had that was when he was with Chloe, and then I think he was just nah. Right.
It was the first ever unanimous MVP voting. So it was all that shit. But 3 out of the 4 years since he's left. 3 over the last 4 years, he's been in the MVP race, number 2, and this year he'll win. He's quickly going up the list of greatest guards of all time. Mm-hmm. In terms of 2 guards, he might be better than Dwayne Wade.
I don't know.
Here's what Dwayne Wade.
I don't know if at the end of the day,
Dwayne Wade did it on both sides of the court.
For sure.
Early in his career, he played really good defense and was a phenomenal offensive player.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of recency bias. Don't get me wrong.
No question.
Sorry for that was a very high whistle, but
he's definitely the 4th best shooting guard of all time at this rate.
For sure. Yeah. Because that top 3 is pretty much impenetrable.
Pretty locked in.
Which watching 20, 30 years, you and I are just gonna be I didn't think this was gonna happen, but this guy's clearly better than every other shooting guard we've ever seen.
It's what I was thinking about today.
He's also 6'13". It doesn't make any sense. Why do you got a 6'13" shooting guard?
I was thinking today. I was like, so there was the Jordan era, and then there was Jordan retiring. You didn't really know. There was like the best player in the NBA was arguably Kobe, but there was like that weird period in the early 2000s where you're like the NBA is kind of in limbo, where there's not like a all-time great star in the league. Like,
yeah, it's also weird. Like even at the time, I didn't even realize like it was kind of in limbo. I just remember being like, the NBA is just all right.
Yeah.
And then like it slowly like started, and then you realize because like there wasn't much.
There wasn't a guy
like
an all-time greatest players during that decade were like Tim Duncan, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter. A couple other people, Paul Pierce, right?
Yeah.
But none of those guys in that ranking, like 2 of them are in the top 10 of all time, and both of them are basically at the back end of that top 10.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're in this LeBron era where we never thought that there would be somebody as close to MJ as LeBron already is. Mm-hmm. He was the second best player of all time,
and he's got like another 5 or 6 years.
He's been so healthy that he could. He's gonna. At this rate, he's gonna break Kareem's all-time scoring record.
I think so.
And he's just gonna have so many accolades. And if he can win a championship this year, it's gonna be really hard to say. But what I'm trying to get at is
on top of that is that like James Harden is unreal. There's a good chance he's gonna get up in that talk. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest scorers of all time. It's like with ease. And I've been kind of like on it for a little bit now. I legit by the end of his career, I think people will be like, Steph Curry might be like the 3rd greatest player ever.
It depends, but it's possible.
I will admit, I don't think he's ever going to surpass LeBron James or Michael Jordan, just because of like he had a lot of injuries in the beginning of his career, and
I think the KD thing is going to hurt him.
Yeah, having KD in his
had he
team,
kept winning without KD, it would have been like, 3rd best player of all time.
Yes,
not even close.
And it's because everyone's like, KD might be also like in that list soon.
Yeah.
Is why I think it's less. If KD was more of like, if it was just him and Klay Thompson, because Klay Thompson's just like a Scottie Pippen.
Well, what I was getting at was that like,
I don't even know what we were talking about. We were just talking about how great a bunch of people are.
No,
now.
I was just like, I was thinking today as I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast, and I was thinking
I
like,
will admit, I think that was the first basketball tangent we ever had.
That's true. We never do that. But I was just thinking today, like, I kind of got sad about the thought of like, man, when LeBron retires, there's gonna have to be somebody who like takes the torch. And you just look at the NBA today, and you're like, is there anybody there that's gonna be like? I mean, KD arguably, right?
But like also like Anthony Davis is like 6 years younger,
and like Ben Simmons maybe. But I was just thinking about that today.
Joel
I'm just
Embiid,
like, it's
Giannis
like
Antetokounmpo.
When you get to live through the MJ period. And then granted, we didn't live through the NBA period.
We were towards
the tail end of it, but
unfortunately,
yeah. And like we've lived through the LeBron era, and it's just like these are just like all-time great eras. Like the people that have been able to live through like the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird era, then the MJ era, and now the LeBron era. Like that's just, I mean, greatest basketball players of all time.
Yeah.
But like I have this weird, and this is so stupid, but like I have this weird fear as an NBA fan where like when LeBron retires, we're gonna go through that same like early to mid 2000s, just like in the 70s. Where it's just like there's superstars in the NBA, but there aren't any transcendent stars in the NBA.
Well,
and I wonder how boring it's gonna get.
By the time that he retires, Bronny Jr. will probably be in his 2nd or 3rd year, so he'll be able to start taking over on that little mantle. Who knows? There's a bunch of people who might just come out of nowhere. There's definitely a good chance for all that. Victor Oladipo came out of nowhere. I'm not saying Victor Oladipo all of a sudden after 5 seasons is going to become like a transcendent star, but he could put in some fucking work.
Yeah, he had a really good season. I hope he can replicate what he did this year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the Coach of the Year voting, because we already talked about how Mr. Dwayne Casey got fired, but he also won Coach of the Year.
Woo!
Which I don't know that anybody's ever done that before. I'm sure somebody has.
I think it has happened.
But anyways.
Actually. I'm gonna Google it while you.
The reason that I brought this up is that here are the other coaches that got votes. Now, again, I want to be clear. This is not the NBA Coach of the Year. This is the Coach of the Year ballot from other coaches. So this is the peer vote. Here are the people that got votes. Obviously, Dwayne Casey, who won. Then you have Mike D'Antoni, Brett Brown, Nate McMillan, Greg Popovich, Quinn Snyder, Terry Stotts, and Doc Rivers. Notice a name that's missing, Nicky?
I do, but I also noticed that there's proof that you can vote for yourself in this. Doc Rivers got a goddamn vote, and Brad Stevenson didn't get a goddamn vote.
Brad Stevens.
I'm sorry.
Brad Stevens. No votes. Son. Not one. 0 votes for Coach of the Year. Is it jealousy?
I don't know.
Does the NBA coaching... Do they just hate the wunderkind, Brad Stevens?
They're just like...
Do they hate him?
I bet a bunch of them were like, but Pop wasn't going to retire soon. We don't want another one of these fuckers that are just like obviously going to turn water into wine.
How do you not give the best coach in the NBA a vote for Coach of the Year?
I know.
He's the best coach in the NBA right now.
They're going to go to 6 games probably against the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals with Al Horford as their best player. And again, no offense to Al Horford, but you're Al fucking Horford. You even know.
I can't believe it.
Like, what?
Average Al Horford.
It's, your team is Jason Tatum, 20 now. Jaylen Brown just turned 21. Scary Terry, I think he's like 25 or something. No, not even that. He's like, what, 23?
Yeah, he might be 22.
Yeah, I know they have like one of the youngest freaking things ever. You got Marcus Smart, who's pretty much missing a hand because that thing is still injured. I don't know how the hell he's playing. He's just literally playing basketball in a cast,
right? Which
I think is LeBron James's next challenge.
To play in a cast.
Just play. I like that idea. Play with an arm tied behind his back, or start shooting left-handed.
I love it. Anyways, Brad Stevens got robbed. But the last topic I want to cover today is the team that Brad Stevens coached. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers, who many thought were actually going to go to the finals this year. They thought they were the best team in the East, and you could argue that talent-wise they were the best team in the East.
Yeah.
But ultimately they got outclassed, outcoached, and they just lost. They looked lost. The guys who were hot, like Bellinelli and Ilyasova in the first round, just didn't look great in the second round. And yeah, ultimately they just, they lost. And now they're going into this offseason with a lot of questions. What are they going to do? How are they going to adjust? Does a loss like this, when they thought they were going to make it to the finals, make them raise their game? Or is this the type of thing where, like, you look at like the 94-95 Magic where they lost to Hakeem and the Rockets and they're like, it's okay, we'll figure it out. We're going to be back here again soon. We're that good. And then they never made it back. Yeah. Like, I wonder what sort of reaction they're going to have here. But they got a lot of questions. Like, JJ Redick only signed a 1-year contract. Yeah. So they got to decide if they want to bring him back.
Which I feel like they should.
I completely agree. I absolutely think they should. Yeah. Robert Covington, they just signed him into a contract. He's going to get paid a lot of money over the next couple of years. They've got guys like Bellinelli and Ilyasova, who they picked up off of waivers. Like, these are guys that they're likely not going to bring back next year. Maybe they bring back one of them, but like, there's a reason that their teams released them. You know what I mean? Now, granted, they both played for really shitty teams,
and they both played for crazy cheap. Marco and Ersan.
Well, also keep in mind that they got picked up in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But like, they have some guys that are still under contract. They've got Justin Anderson,
TJ McConnell. They get to choose.
Yeah, TJ McConnell. I feel like they're definitely going to
probably. You think they're going to bring Holmes back? Because he's had some pretty good games.
I think ultimately, I think they bring back JJ.
JJ they keep.
I think
Amir,
is
gone.
Yeah, Amir's gone. I feel like they try to find somebody for Robert Covington.
Maybe. I think he might be able to. Because he would be good. He's a 3-and-D player. You need those.
Yeah, but he was really bad in the playoffs.
He did very bad in the playoffs.
Huge problem.
But he did very good during the regular season.
Also, Matt would like us to mention that Robert Covington's from Bellwood, and he went to the same high school that his mom teaches at, so we got to make sure and mention that. Shout out to Matt Reed. We love you, Fat Reed. But yeah, there's a lot of guys that that make sense on their roster, but they've got to make some changes.
Yeah,
they've got to make some changes. And like this playoff roster that they had was perfectly built around the skill set that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid had. But next year you got to throw Markelle Fultz into that fold. Yeah, and then they've got to figure out: do you bring a bunch of guys on veteran minimum level contracts that are good 3-point shooters to surround Simmons and Embiid? Like, they've got some roster construction questions.
Well, I'm gonna go and say this: if Markelle can bring up his shooting percentage, he did find the couple of games he played, but if he can really go back to how he was in college, if that happens after a full, I don't know what the hell he was doing during the season, eating Chick-fil-A, I guess. But if he can get back to shooting very well, because that one game that they won where TJ McConnell kind of went off, it kind of showed you what happens when you get an extra 3-point shooter out there with him.
Well, they need people with that skill set.
Yeah, sure. And I think they have so many players that can shoot threes, but Robert Covington just wasn't.
Right.
But I think if Markelle Fultz gets better at shooting, you throw him up there, and Dario or Covington goes to the bench. Dario's your 4. I mean, I like keeping JJ.
I think they should.
I think they should too. He's a good veteran presence on that one,
and he was great for them in the playoffs.
He was awesome in the playoffs.
And he's still very serviceable too. Good. I just, like I said, I wonder what this does to like a guy like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Like, does this make them take that next step?
I think it does.
Or does a loss like this like shake their confidence to the point where like next year we're talking about what the fuck happened to the Sixers?
Yeah, no, I think
that's a concern I have.
I think that they'll be okay only because like we didn't expect them to do this well.
No, well, most people had them at like 41 wins, and then they ended up winning like 54.
They won 52.
Yeah,
I think it was.
52.
52.
52.
Yeah, bam! Look at that memory, bitches. But yeah, I'm not worried about them because, like I said, no one expected them to do this good. Everyone literally projected them to maybe hit the 8th seed. They got the 3rd, and like they did way better than anyone expected. In the playoffs, they did better than even they expect. Obviously, none of those players would be like, "Yeah, actually, we didn't think we'd be doing this," but they did way better than they expected.
They overkicked their coverage. They definitely overachieved this year.
Oh yeah, hell yes, they did.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
They know how to do a backflip. They went for a double and somehow landed it. And then what happened was
they tried again and they fell on their face.
Then they tried to just go for a single backflip and somehow fell on their face.
Yeah,
they overshot it.
Now here's the ultimate question: Brett Brown got outcoached. By Brad Stevens. So the question is has Brett Brown just like stretched himself to the point where like this is as good as he can get? Like will a reputable great coach be able to take this team to the next level?
I think we need to wait. I think Brett Brown
I'm comfortable giving him
such
one
a
more
great
season.
job. Yeah, one maybe 2 seasons, but because now that you can tell all of these young guys are ready to go. So if they can't play, like if they don't do any better in 2 seasons, because again, like next year, if they end up in the 3rd seed again and lose like in the 2nd round, then everyone's like, okay, now they've done that 2 seasons. If in the 3rd season they can't do a step up, then you got to get rid of him.
No, you give that guy one more shot, if that.
Yeah.
And then
you think they're going to get rid of him halfway through the season?
They could.
I mean, fuck it. They did it with
Fizdale. They did it with David Blatt. Like,
yeah, they did. That happens
teams do it all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyways, anything else we want to wrap up today? Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up? Conference finals starting next week or tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. Yeah. Major predictions. Who's going to the finals?
I say Rockets versus Cavaliers.
Interesting.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I want it to be that.
I think ultimately it's going to be Warriors Cavaliers again.
Or Warriors versus Celtics or Rockets Celtics.
What would be the most, if we looked at the playoffs going into the season? What would have been the most boring NBA finals?
If we're calling every single team that was in there?
Yeah.
The most boring would probably be, I think it would probably be like either on the West we got either the Timberwolves
That's not boring.
I mean, it's very interesting to see them go all the way.
My pick would be Pacers versus Spurs. That would be
the
most boring finals.
Because on the East,
ever.
I definitely had the Spurs no matter what. The Pacers no matter what.
Yeah, Pacers Spurs would have been, and no offense to Indiana or San Antonio if we have any listeners out there, but Pacers Spurs would have been the most boring finals ever.
A slow pace,
Oof.
A lot of mid-range jumpers and post moves. That would have been like an early 2000s.
It would have been like a 1993 finals. Yeah. It would have been so boring. Anything else? Anything else before we wrap up today?
No, I guess we can just plug. So if you guys want, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nicky Palooza. Follow our other podcast, Eat Yay Love, on Instagram, and it's also on Facebook. YouTube, The Yay Network. Twitch, Yay Network. Also, May 20th, I will be at Second City, 8 p.m., the Blackout Cabaret, Sin Night. Tickets are $10. And also May 27th, IO Theater, 8 p.m., the student shows. I'm a graduate.
So busy. Don't forget about our other podcast, Eat Yay Love. If you love food, Eat Yay Love. And Double Yay if you're a baseball fan. My friend Jay and I, the Jays, talk about baseball every day, every Sunday. Yay. And then, of course, you can follow NBA on Facebook at NBA Pod on Twitter and on Instagram at NBA Pod. You can follow me at J_Kilas on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, I've got a new podcast out called Yay, I Started a Podcast. I think it's on iTunes, but I'm having a hard time finding it. Anyways, if you like podcasts and you're interested in maybe starting your own, you should check out Yay, I Started a Podcast. Cool. Well, for Nicky, for Jay, this has been NBA. We're out.
Bye.